So this is the Diamond Marvel Select or Sue Storm figure, and I took off her head, and it turns out that the little part that attaches to the ball joint is a little bit more shallow than they are on the McFarlane figures. But the problem with McFarlane figures is they just don't make enough female figures. They've got like maybe 5 templates, which they reuse constantly, and they basically just remake the same characters, which are Wonder Woman, Batgirl, or some form of Batgirl or Batwoman, and then just a few others which seem to be the same. But anyways, I feel like this body from this figure, Diamond Select figure, would make a pretty good base template for a Supergirl figure. And so I'm going to be making the clone Supergirl from the Death of Superman era. And this head, I feel like this head is pretty good actually for what it is, but it's not a Supergirl head. And so I'm going to have to pick up another figure with a Supergirl head. And I think I'm going to choose the one from the Page Punchers because then I could modify her hair to fit my idea of a Supergirl. But for this head, I think that this would probably work pretty well if I colored it. I think it would be a good Maxima, which is another female figure that I need to make. And then other than that, the only other female figure that I currently have on the docket is maybe Lois Lane. And so I saw this unmasked Batwoman, and I feel like this head is really good in terms of like Lois Lane. And so I'm probably going to use this head. This body, I don't even know if this body is going to have any use for me. It's just got too much going on, and modifying it would be like a really heavy job. But yeah, I think I'm going to be able to, from there, at least make 2 female figures, and then if I get lucky in the future, I could find a good kind of skirt and blazer kind of figure, or make one for Lois's head. That's what I am so far. So this is an early test of the Supergirl skirt. I tried making another version that was kind of like sewed up at the bottom, but it was kind of too stiff. And I really want this thing to be a flowy thing. When it's finished, it's going to have a yellow belt put on top of the top section of the skirt. And then it has to be probably glued so that it doesn't rotate, because that's what it wants to do. It wants to turn. And then I guess I might want to make it more of a dip, like a triangle dip at the bottom, because that should be kind of like a sharper spear for the bottom, if we're going for like the Supergirl thing. And so yeah, just got to add the yellow belt, tip it, and then I think it'll be just about the right length once you cover this with the belt. I don't know if I want to make it shorter. I feel like it's a good length as it is. What you want with the Supergirl skirt is you want the triangle thing here, and then you want parts of the thigh to be revealed on the sides. And the back, I'm not really sure. I think I'll just leave it like that. But yeah. So this is the current paint job on the Supergirl. It's not sealed yet, so everything is really dull looking, but it's going to be sprayed with acrylic sealer after. This S had to be handmade because I wanted to contour along her bust. And then there's a skirt missing here, and the skirt's going to be fabric, as you guys should know. So this is the current iteration, and then I got to put a yellow belt on it, but so far it's coming together. And the main thing I'm wondering is if I should carve out the boot or not, because there could be lines for the boot, or I could just leave it like this. So this is the current iteration. I've sealed it with acrylic sealer, and so everything's looking pretty good so far. I've got the skirt on. The head is just temporary. The cape, I'm not sure if the cape's working right now. It's a little bit too flat. It doesn't wrinkle enough for my liking, and maybe that can only be solved by making it bigger. But so far, I'm thinking it's alright. I like it for the most part. I could touch it up a bit. And then I just have to work in the head. And so I'm thinking for the head, I'm probably going to used the head from the Page Punchers Supergirl, from one of the multiverse stories, and I have to create a new hair piece for her as well. So I got this Page Punchers Supergirl, and mainly the reason I got it is for the head, and the head is actually really like nice. It actually looked worse in the photos, but the actual doll in person looks pretty good. And so I'm basically going to apply it to this body. I'm going to have to remove this hair, and then I also have to shave down the dumbbell so I could fit this head, because for some reason all the recent figures seem to have really tight like holes for the head, for the dumbbells to fit into, and I don't know why they're all like that, but they're like really tight. But anyways, I was thinking I'm gonna have to shave off her head somehow, and hopefully I can do that without leaving behind blemishes. But some of these hair pieces are glued into like parts of the head where I want them to be covered. But anyways, I noticed people mentioned that this was a wash on this hair, and it's not a wash. I understand like the idea of like a darker color being washed into a yellow piece of plastic, but it's not. It's actually a brown piece of plastic, and it's got a light paint job on top, on the edges, and so it's kind of just like almost like a subtle highlight, like a print on top of the hair, and then just leaving the deep crevices without anything on it. So it doesn't look as bad as it looked in the photos, but it's also just not for my purposes. You see, I want to get Supergirl with this kind of hair, and so that's what I'm going for. But I'm not sure what I'm going to make it out of. Maybe green stuff or milliput. But my experience with milliput is it's too rigid and it's not flexible. And I do want her to be able to turn her head. So I had to figure that out. So I started working with green stuff. And what I find about green stuff is that it doesn't hold its shape very easily. And so it's not reliable for something like hair, because this thing was supposed to have all these curls in it, but I couldn't keep the curls in there. They just kept unfolding and flattening themselves out. And so in the end, I had to like put all these kind of like weird like plastic wrap stuff under it just to keep it from moving downwards, and then propping it up. And in the end, the hair came out like not quite right. And also I think the hair is too big. I could have made it a lot less in terms of the top. It's just too big for this head. So this is the second attempt at the hair. I tried to use more paneling this time around. And then also the strands are more subtle, because green stuff just moves around way too much. And so if you're trying to shape it at the same time, texture it, you're going to have issues. So yeah, I'm just going to leave this here at this point. I'm not going to make another attempt at the hair. But I am going for that more bleach blonde 90s Supergirl look. And also, apparently there's a new Supergirl coming out, live action. And so hopefully she's true to this style. And then I guess that's it.